Happy Monday. This is day 11 of 40. If you're tracking, Friday was day 9, and I apologize, we missed Friday, the best laid plans and all that stuff. Saturday was the 10th. Sunday would be the 11th. Now we skipped Sunday. You don't count Sunday in the 40 days because Sundays are the day of resurrection, and that's not a time of mourning even during the period of Lent. Anyway, on Friday, we had a miss. On Saturday, didn't do a Lenten devotion because I'm doing the podcast. I realized that, studying the historicity and cultural force of people like Darwin and Marx is not exactly Lenten devotional stuff, but sorry about that. That's sort of our throughput capacity here. But anyway, if you're part of the 2% Club, those are two of the people that we were looking at in the podcast recently. Anyway, we're back on it, and we are today looking at Matthew chapter 17, verses 1 through 19, which describes Christ's transfiguration. So the artwork that I dropped in there today is the famous painting called The Transfiguration. It was done by Raphael, the great 16th century Renaissance Italian artist. He was a remarkable painter. He was an architect. And then, of course, later had a successful run as a teenage mutant ninja turtle. Okay, so from the ridiculous back to the sublime, the Transfiguration. The Transfiguration is an amazing moment. It's an amazing miracle. Jesus goes up the mountain. He has with him Peter, James, and John. And while he's there, he is transformed into his original, real state in all his glory. And he lights up the night. And with him are Moses and Elijah. So Moses is the representative of the law, and Elijah is the representative of the prophets. And so you've got these big voices from the Old Testament, and they're sort of kowtowing to Jesus, who is the center. He is the one about whom they were pointing, and who is the star of the show. And what we get again. Philippians chapter 2 talks about this, that in order to come from heaven to earth, Jesus had to empty himself, somehow has to cloak some of his glory. And so the sense that we have is that what we get at the Transfiguration is Jesus back in his initial state. And this is a miracle. It's a big miracle. Aquinas called it the biggest miracle, greatest miracle, because it gives us a state of who Jesus really is. And it stands in the flow of the gospel. It sort of stands as one of the big items. You've got the birth of Christ. You've got his baptism. You've got the transfiguration, the crucifixion, the resurrection, and the ascension. So it's one of the big deals. So if you read the passage, you know that Peter is going to mess things up here a little bit. That's not out of character. And you also know that Peter will, in short order, be helping to launch the church. But we're a little bit out of chronological order here for reasons that become a little bit clearer later on. I'm going to read Matthew chapter 17, verses 1 through 9. So I assigned more of that to you, but I'm going to read this for right now. After 6 days, Jesus took with him Peter, James, and John, the brother of James, and led them up a high mountain by themselves. There he was transfigured before them. His face shone like the sun, and his clothes became as white as the light. Just then there appeared before them Moses and Elijah talking with Jesus. Peter said to Jesus, "Lord, it is good for us to be here. If you wish, I will put up three shelters, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah." While he was speaking, a bright cloud covered them, and a voice from the cloud said, "This is my son whom I love. With him I am well pleased. Listen to him." When the disciples heard this, they fell face down to the ground, terrified, but Jesus came and touched them. "Get up," he said, "don't be afraid." When they looked up, they saw no one except Jesus. As they were coming down the mountain, Jesus instructed them, "Don't tell anyone what you have seen until the Son of Man has been raised from the dead." So one of the things that we hear from some people is that Jesus doesn't actually ever claim to be God. There are a variety of statements around this theme that get made. Some claim Jesus never existed. Some claim that he existed, but that the Gospels can't be trusted, and there's later editions that say he claims to be God. Some look at all the things that are in the Gospels and say, none of these actually suggest that he's really God. So I'm not going to, attack this. I do this a lot, but this is a devotion. This is not a course in apologetics, and I don't know where you stand. But let me note that the gospel is written to persuade people that Jesus is not simply a great teacher, a moral coach, a guide, an example, any of those things. He is more than that. And here in this transfiguration, we get a glimpse, another glimpse into the true nature and the glory and the power of Jesus. So here's your assignment for today. I want to leverage this idea that the Father says about Jesus at the Transfiguration, "Here's my Son, whom I love, whom I'm well pleased." So if you're a parent, mom and dad, I want to encourage you, and this doesn't, your kids could be, 4 years old or they could be 70 years old. If you've got kids that are that old, I want to encourage you to reach out to them and assure them of your love and that you're proud of them, because those are divine words. And there's a little pun there, but those are divine words, and children need to hear them. So we'll be back tomorrow. Have a good day.